Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Screen Chronicles. I'm Steve, and with me, as always, is Colby. Ski ski. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for incorporating my natural middle name.
Anytime, man.
Yeah. And people, today we are talking more Last Kingdom. We're getting through season 5 here. And we're talking about episode 3, which was a pretty eventful episode, I have to say.
Yes.
What did you think of episode 3, kind of generally, Steve?
I really liked it. As we said before, we're only going to be talking about everything in the Last Kingdom up to this episode.
Right.
So no spoilers going on after this one. So you've been warned. Generally, when I have finished the whole series now, but when I first saw this, and we both have, my first watch through, when we hit this episode, I was like, all right, here we go.
Yes.
This was, at least when I first watched this, is probably one of my favorite episodes and even now, I would say it's probably one of my favorite ones from the whole season 5 here. I mean, it's got action, it's got emotion, it's got it all. It was a great one to see. A lot of crazy things happen in this one that I was like, well, this already happened. You know, I saw this coming, but I didn't think it was going to happen now.
I know.
So, I mean, I really liked it. I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah. That's, I'm right in that range too. Probably a 9 out of 10, at least a 9 out of 10. It was.
I'll commit to a 9 or commit.
Commit to a 9? Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely in the top tier of episodes this season, I would say. And like you said, it had a little bit of everything, I feel like. Really solid episode. And without any further ado, we're going to jump into the spoiler talk because we have a lot to talk about this episode. But comment your thoughts on the episode below. Again, try to be spoiler free after this episode. But here, we're good. Okay.
So as always, we're going to give you a little recap, a little spoiler discussion about what we thought about it. And then we're going to give you our favorite moments and our best bro moments, which I think some people think like just means, oh, guy moment. But it's just generally our most wholesome moment. It's usually the bros in the squad doing things with each other. Yeah. But I don't know. I saw a couple comments. I was like, it's not just
the guys.
Not like, what up? No, it's not like that. All right.
No. Plenty of female characters have won our best bro moments in the past. Steora has won it. Speaking of Steora, and ladies and gentlemen, out of this corner here in Ephoich, Steora Uhtred's daughter, because she is coming out of the gutter system where she was hiding. If you remember last episode, she had called out to Brita. And
Brita's like, fight me, bitch.
She's like, okay, and she marches out. Brita says something like, oh, look, the gods have delivered, and Steora she's ready to take her on here.
I'm going 9.5. I'm committing to 9.5.
See, things like this. I was like, here we go. Now, again, we hadn't seen a whole lot of Steora action in season 4, so my initial thoughts were like,
she's also a lot younger in season 4, I think.
Totally is.
She was a whole Ethelstan, younger.
She was extremely intelligent. We just didn't see a lot of her fighting and stuff. So I'm kind of thinking going up, she's walking up to Brita. I'm like, oh, crap. But she totally lays down, let's make the square.
Yes.
Oh, my God. This goes all the way back to first episode Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
When Ragnar the Elder challenges Kjartan to make a square, and Kjartan does not. But I think that's the first time we hear, that's the
first time make the square gets mentioned. And I remember the first, and then this is one of the major things why you and I fell in love with the Last Kingdom. It was it's so epic and cool moment because it means we're gonna duel. And it was so fun just sort of figuring that out from context. There was never anyone that was like, this is what make the square means, Uhtred.
Right.
Audience. It was like, it's something we just figured out. So by watching it. And it was always just a cool moment because again, it's gonna be a one-on-one fight. It usually means you want to fight to the death sort of thing. And especially the first 2 seasons, and it happens. And I'd say in the 3rd season too. That's when people are going to throw down, and it's always fun. I would say this is the first time though that when they said make the square, that they actually outlined the square with Hazel Branch. But this is something from the books though. This is from the books. Yeah. And I would imagine history too, because this was the books. Bernard Cornwell,
especially if Bernard Cornwell's incorporating it.
They would literally lay down, I think, hazel branches to outline a square section of ground. Basically, this is our temporary arena here where people are going to fight, to the death.
Right.
So, and that's the first time we saw it. So
it's the first time we get to see how it's done.
Book accurate. Awesome. This is a callback to all the things that we loved. This wasn't in our 5 things we wanted from this season, but we didn't know we wanted. We didn't know how bad we wanted to see the square being made. And it reminded me of those time-lapse videos in arenas when they're switching between concert venue to basketball court to hockey arena to, we got to see the courtyard become the square, man. Yeah.
I didn't know how much I wanted that. No,
I mean, that was a big thing I wanted from this season. Was I wanted the culture stuff from the Danes, the unique, iconic stuff that we got from back in the first season. It established what it was that the show was about, that I feel like the 4th season really fell off away from.
Totally.
4th season, I would say, had a ton of great bro moments, emotional moments. There was an awesome battle, but like as far as like the Dane culture moments and like iconic stuff that was like in the first 3 seasons, I felt like it just didn't have it.
And this episode's got some good Dane culture stuff.
Yes.
Not just this. Later on, we'll talk about more.
Yes.
But speaking of the square, Britta's face when Steor calls it is like, really? Like, you want to do that? Like, really? And I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, I don't know if Steor is a match for Britta, who's been in this game a long time. We haven't seen Steor a whole lot. And I like a little bit of shit talk. You can't have a good square making the square without a little bit of shit talk. And Britta says, you have your father's eyes. Maybe I'll keep them when I'm done. And the whole crowd's like, oh,
Britta's a
oh. They all just fall back. Oh.
Britta is just on it this season as far as like shit talking. Oh my God. There's another episode later on. It's just like, come on, woman, like shimmer down. They start fighting. And one thing I would say is like, they cut away from it too much for me. I was just like, I wanted to just stay on it and do this. But I mean, they're setting up so much with this is going on. While this is going on,
another one of our favorite things is going on at the same time.
Yeah. The bros
SEAL Team 6 entrance to a city.
Oh, yeah. SEAL Team 6, like Uhtred back in, again, first season, not breaking into, but sneaking up on the Dane ships and burning it before he fights Ubba in the square, right? So we've got them sneaking in through the sewers, and then they break in. There's a giant battle that happens.
The writers are like, okay, what are Stephen Colby's favorite things here for episode 3? Let's put them in a blender. Let's put it all together.
Yes.
The only thing we didn't get a shield wall, but we get a battle. We get SEAL Team 6. We get a make in the square. It's great.
Yes. I love it too. I love it interrupts the square fight going down. The battle does when the boys break out. They start letting out the Danes who were loyal to Citrigir.
Right.
So that's where this sort of army comes. They open the gates, and then the men outside come in.
I like how they show their hiding places too. Like Osferth is on a roof, and Citrix like behind a horse. And
this just felt like it felt so real. I would say because like you said, everyone was just using the set to like go and fight, and people were climbing on buildings and sliding. Like Osferth slides down like the house and like starts killing people, and like Citrigir like he just like gets to the top and he just starts being a sniper with bow and arrow. I like as soon as that happened, like when they were first breaking in, they were sneakily killing people. I was like, here we go. But then when Citrigir just starts sniping people with the bow, I was just like, oh my God.
That was awesome. I know. That was amazing. And before this, when Steor is fighting I think Ruby Hartley looked pretty good fighting. I mean, we knew Emily Cox has got the moves. Steora somewhat holds her own for a bit, but she's definitely overmatched. And Brita eventually gets that high ground, and that's when Sig Trigger fortunately had gotten there in time. He shoots, I think, at Brita, but it hits someone in the background.
Yeah,
but that
poor random
guy is like, you got these front row tickets to the event. I mean, it says right on the ticket, watch out for projectiles going into the audience, so you can't sue. Brita immediately, when she sees that, like battle mode, like she switches to battle mode and forgets kind of Steora. And by the way, Steora was fighting pretty fiercely too, because Brita had just killed her. Hela is her name. She's the deaf woman who is Steora's aide, her helper.
Yeah,
she kind of killed her unnecessarily. Like, she posed no threat, and she kind of teased her about it, like, oh, if you help me, I won't kill you. But so Brita sucks. And
Brita sucks.
And you know who they let out of that cage, who was a beast to watch?
Who?
Walland.
Yes.
Wallen's over in that cage screaming his head off, like, no, during the whole thing. And then they finally let him out, and he's got this huge
battle axe.
And we get a few beats with him, just wrecking. He's tough. Yeah, he's wrecking. Yes. He's a cannonball, and he's wrecking.
I love too. There was this axe throw that happened with Citric, and it, like, the way the camera was like with it, how it went to like the guy's face, but it still felt like Last King to me. It just still felt natural. It didn't feel like it was like set up some. I don't know. It was an awesome axe throw.
So fast. It was like Batman like. Just
yes.
We got Harry Gilby's. We've talked a lot about this in our talks. Harry Gilby just kind of like tackles a guy, and we found out that was improvised.
Gary Gilby's like, no one gets back up when I'm.
It's like
when Ethelstan is there.
It's like those jokes where it's like, and the cameras just kept filming.
Yep. I would.
He just tackled a guy. But Ethelstan has some cool beats. Like I said, Citric has some great beats. Finn
goes on.
Theora has some great beats. And then Citrigger kicks out the wooden planks of the window and just jumps down.
Just Assassin's Creed
and starts killing people. Now, I have to say, Sig Trigger 2 times in this battle almost died. One time, I think Steora runs up and a guy's coming behind. She stabs a guy that's coming at Sig Trigger. And the other one's an interesting storyline. I guess we'll touch on it right now.
Yeah.
With Rongvald, who was on Brita's side. And he's sort of looking around the battle like, who's winning, kind of judging, should I kind of jump to the other ship here? And I thought this was a pretty cool moment because Sig Trigger has his back turned, and clearly a Dane is gonna get him. Another Dane, and that Dane gets killed last second, and it's Rongvald, his brother, and it's like, oh, you're supposed to be on the other side.
Yeah, and if you don't remember, Rumvald is Citrigger's brother, and he was one who let all the Danes in. So this is his doing, and that's something they touch on at some point. It's why did you help me out? And it, to me, doesn't seem like it was just because it's brotherly love.
I think he was trying to save his own skin.
Yes,
because if he got captured, I mean, it's in this episode, so we can talk about it. If he got captured right away and he hadn't jumped ship, I think they would have just killed him right away.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what saves him, is he's like, I saved your life. Later on, when Walland is just executing people with that was just with great. That right pick.
Yeah.
Or the other side of the.
Yeah, they're using like a pick, like right.
It's surgical.
Here? Yeah.
That's just professional.
Just working down the line.
That's just how to do it. Pain-free for at least once you're dead.
I was thinking too, like when they got the Rumvald, he was like, wait, and like he waits. Like everyone else should have done the same thing, right? Like, but he was the last one. Like if I was after Rumvald, and the whole time I'm thinking, all right, here I go, I'm gonna get, and then I see Rumvald just go, wait, and then they wait and hear him out. I'm like, all right, well now I've got something planned. I'm gonna say something like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'll clean up the sewer system.
The Sig Trigger guy's a pushover here. Let's I'll do your laundry for a week.
I'll do everyone's laundry.
I'll do everyone's laundry. And at that moment later in the episode, when Rungvald's on his knees, we don't know Sig Trigger's decision right away.
And he's just standing there, just cold, just looking.
Wallen's like eager to throw this, to just slam the back of his neck. Steora's standing there like, let's go, let's do this.
let's get him done.
I think she kind of knows, though, that he's not going to do it. And I kind of knew, too, you know. But they do leave you with a little bit of a question because they cut the scene right before Sig Trigger makes his decision. And like you said, he's standing there cold and like contemplating. And you can tell, how hard of a decision it is for him. It's his freaking brother, even with all the shit he did. I mean, his brother's probably been doing shit to him his whole life, stealing his toys and,
That's what he says. Like, he was always looking out for his brother. Like, this is just, but this is the most level of betrayal he can do, is get your kingdom taken and then threaten to kill your wife and everything,
Yeah. But, back to the battle, there were a lot of amazing beats. We were so pumped up.
God, there was so many cool ones, especially like every time Uhtred and Brita would like start to fight, because there'd be like someone else that comes in and like they have to separate for a bit, deal with these other guys. Or like there's even like one point when Uhtred like had a clean kill shot line up on Brita, swings, and then just another body falls in the way. Like, it was all so chaotic and natural feeling. I was like,
it felt real. That's what I'm going to say. It felt natural. It did feel like, this is how it would be, And so just props to all the actors and Levente Lejac, the director. Scene looked great. Great battle choreography. In the courtyard of Efowich. Pretty awesome. I hope
we talk about, like, as far as battles go, the one at Biamphliot in season 3, Dunholm in season 2, and Tettenhall in season 4. Those are probably like the biggest ones. Yeah, how they were and how amazing they were, like cinematically and choreography. But I would say like this one, it was amazing. It was short, and I guess it wasn't like as important to the story as those other ones were. Yeah. But like it is so chaotic and crazy, and like so many like cool things happen.
Yeah, I would say beat for beat, each like battle beat for beat this battle holds its own. Yeah, and is memorable for those reasons. Like you said, it's not as significant. I mean, they do take back Efowich. Yeah, but the scale isn't as big as a Tettenhall or
like Dunholm. If this battle didn't happen, like it wouldn't change who Uhtred was. You know what I mean?
No, I mean he does save his daughter here. Yeah, but just the scale of it wasn't as big. Yeah. But during this battle, I mean, Brita's daughter, all this crazy beats are going on, and she's just looking at a feather. I'm like, watch the battle. Just look at all these beats. They're awesome. And they're showing through her eyes, which I thought was cool. And she's seeing something in the trees that's kind of calling to her, because she's been raised to have this sort of clairvoyant, she's a seer. Brita's raised her like this. So she starts wandering right through the chaotic battle. And they do like a slightly slow motion, I think. And I'm like this. Because look, even though the girl is Brita's daughter and she's done some bad things, she's been creepy, she's still a little girl that's just been manipulated by her mother to do this shit.
Yeah. And that's what she was raised to do.
I don't want anything bad to happen to the little girl. And so while she's like walking through the battles, there's like a axe or sword swipe that like just ticks her hair. They show, and I'm just like biting my nails like, oh shit. And Brita sees that, and as a good mother would, she
goes, oh shit.
She goes, oh shit too. Like stay away from the battle, like go and I'll find you after, stay safe. And so where does Vivica, her daughter, think is safe?
Just the top of the chapel.
The top of the chapel, the highest point.
The highest point.
This is a crazy moment.
To me, this is one of those moments where it's just like they're making Uhtred to be like too heroic. You know what I mean? I want him to be a good guy, obviously, but I don't know if like in the middle of a chaotic battle, if I would like make it my priority to make sure the kids are safe, especially.
Well, but think of it this way. I was thinking of it this way. Like, does Uhtred want her daughter to die? No, I think he does want to save the daughter, but I also think he knows that that's the biggest leverage over Brita. So if he can get the daughter and just say, just like he did with Canute's kids, then he can stop this whole battle. That's what I'm thinking. Like,
I know that kind of. I think you're right. I think that is probably what he's doing. It clears it up some. You're right.
But I do think like he also a big part of him. He doesn't want the kid to die. No. So I think like when she's on the edge and Uhtred follows her up, Brita's on another roof lower.
Oh my God. She's on a whole separate building, like one story down.
I know. But I think Uhtred's first priority is like, okay, save her life, make sure she's safe, and then threaten her life and tell Brita. But he's like, come down, child.
He's on the same building as her, like
she's
feet away.
Can almost reach her, just not quite.
And Brita's like, no, jump to me. Jump a story down to me across a gap in a building. And I was just like, this is not going to end well.
This is usually not a good idea. The statistics of this working are not high. But Brita's, she's spewing all this stuff like the gods are with you, like just jump. And the girl, it's just crazy because this zooms in on her. She's looking at Uhtred, looking at her mom, looking at Uhtred, and of course she's going to do what her mom says. It's the only person she's ever listened to her whole life.
So she jumps and she dies.
Brutal.
Oh my God. Brutal. Like as soon as I saw this happening, I was like, I don't know how she could survive,
Mm-hmm. Oh, no way.
But I was thinking Brita's child was going to die this season, to like give her like a little throw in the arc here.
Yeah, I think I kind of had that too. Yeah.
I didn't expect it in the third episode of the season though. That's for sure.
And
if you remember, this was her child with Canute, from season 4.
Mm-hmm.
When she was raising it, and after Sigurgeir, ends the fight and teams up with Uhtred, she's just like, I can't trust any of these Danes to just be vicious, bloodthirsty people like me. I just can't trust anyone. Everyone wants peace.
I gotta go start my own cult.
And she's like, my first member of my cult is going to be my kid.
Yeah.
So we were both like, all right, we know her child is going to be this little nasty, evil thing.
Right.
And she wasn't really nasty, but she was definitely evil. She'd be like,
well,
let me hold your hand so you can die.
And I wonder too, though, I mean, she was blindfolded all the time with that. Like, how much does she really, I mean, she's so young. How much does she really understand what's going on?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. But like at some point you got to be like, all right, I'm going to take this off, and there's going to be like 7 people missing. And those are the people I touched.
Where'd they go, mommy? Or they're laying on the ground. So no, I mean, yeah, but she's raised up in this. So again, I don't think you can blame her completely because it's just what Brita had her do.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was the way she was raised.
But she was going to be evil. At least we can at least say that. Like if she kept living, I feel like she was going to be, and Brita kept raising her.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was crazy to see the little girl. I mean,
and that's still pretty much what ends the battle. Brita just takes the kid and just leaves.
Emily Cox, her eyes walking out of the city, everybody defending her. She's forgotten about the battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. It doesn't matter. All she can think about is her dead child in her arms.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's fighting off behind her as they leave Effowich. And Emily Cox's face she's destroyed.
Yeah.
She's destroyed.
But I like too that they didn't just have her like break down then and crying and stuff. Like she was like in shock. She's still in battle mode. Like she just held the kid and just like walked out, like, look obviously devastated looking, but also just like in shock of what's going on.
And she gets away. Yeah, she needs to get away, and then she breaks down. They show somebody taking the child, and then Emily Cox Brita just lets it all out.
I thought it was well done how they did.
And
it.
what I also like too was they show Uhtred watching her leave. He's not happy. I think he's relieved that Efowich is taken back, but there's a lot of concern on his face because what I think is there's a huge part of him that still deeply cares about Brita. You know what I mean? And he knew how important, how important this child was to her. And even though she did tons of shit to his kids, was trying to do stuff to Steora, it's like, I still think a big part of him feels sorry for Brita.
Yeah.
Do you think that too? Or do you think
I think that's 100% why he let so much shit slide with her is because, he feels guilty for he was essentially the first one to betray her, not that back in season 1, why he didn't just go with her and Ragnar is because he swore to Alfred, that he'd be his man and that he'd, work for him. But why that meant something to him besides, he wants to be an honorable guy, keeps his word, is because, and this is elaborated on more in the books, but they do explain it some in the show. They hint at it, is that if Uhtred was to go with the Danes, sure, he could probably win back Bebbanburg, but then it would be property of the Danes. It would always be, there'd be no legal right for him that says, this is yours. This is Uhtred of Bebbanburg. This is just you, Dane Conqueror. You took this and this is your fort now.
Right.
He knew that if he stayed with the Saxons, if he won it back and he is the Elderman, if he's in favor with them, it would legally be his then. Then it would be Uhtred of Bebbanburg. This is mine. Rightfully, it's going to go on to my heirs. Anyone who, people could take it, but then they'd be enemies. They wouldn't just be like friends deceiving you and getting the next one up on you. It'd be, so that was his big thing. He wanted his birthright. He wanted that. And that's why he didn't go with Brita, because he knew if he went back with the Danes, he would never be Uhtred of Bebbanburg, which was to him, that's for him reaching his potential.
Right. Totally.
So he was the first one to do that to her. And I think he's just always felt guilty every time he has left her and the Danes to, go back with the Saxons, to go back with Alfred and to leave Ragnar and her. That happens, like 3 or 4 times, if you count the first time that happens that I just mentioned. Again, that season when he is a hostage and he needs to go back and warn Alfred about Ubba and everyone else coming back, that they're going to get some battles coming on. And then in season 2, I mean, he was threatened by Alfred that like, hey, I'm going to kill your brother for you killing the priest unless you swear to me. So that he banned
and they reconcile that in season 3, which is amazing, and their little side journey. But then obviously,
but he does leave Ragnar to go help Ethelfled before that too. So I mean, there's like those 4 times they had that awesome. That was one of our favorite moments. I think that was even your bro moment or bro moment of the season. Was Uhtred and Brita.
Yeah, it was.
And I love that moment. That was amazing.
In season 4, again, one of the worst betrayals is to her, is she wants him to kill her, and he decides not to, because how can he kill this person he's bonded with, even though now she's going to suffer as a slave instead of dining in Valhalla, according to Brita's mind. She's not going to be with Ragnar anymore, or at that moment. So she's that's like ultimate, like, I think that was it. I think that's where it snapped.
I'm still like in that moment. I feel like there was other options. I've said this a bunch of times. It's just like, I feel like he could have just took her and like been like, this is my prisoner, or like, hey, this is one of
the agreement with the Welsh.
There was I don't know. I just feel like there was other options that it was just like kill her or let her go as a slave. I was just like, I don't know. I feel like there was some other options we didn't try and do. So back to, I think, he does feel guilty about those things. And I like that they sort of carry that into this, and that's why he says like it wouldn't have been honorable her child just died. That's why I didn't go after her and kill her. But I also think it was just all those things that he's felt like he was the one always letting her down. That he was just like I still feel bad. I'm gonna let her go.
Yeah, and now her daughter's dead, and another thing to the list. So she walks away. They're celebrating, the boys are in the gates of Efowich, like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
Which was cool to see, because I think the odds were still kind of against them. They were outnumbered. Pure League had come in with reinforcements at one point with the Mercian men. Pure League goes to help the town people after.
Yeah.
And that's when, who does he find in the weeds?
Brida.
And we just see her step into the camera, and we just know, oh, she's going to take him. She's going to take him.
After the battle, too, Finnan comes clean with Uhtred. He's like, all right, now I can't.
Not right away, though.
No. What happens? What happens then?
He tries to, and Uhtred's like, I have to go. And then later he comes clean.
He tries to get him to go see Ethelfled.
He tried, and Uhtred's just like, no, not now. I got to.
Yeah, we got to do the Brida stuff.
Yes, we got to go after Brida.
And that's when he's like, all right, like, hey, this might be the last time you see her, is to go see Ethelfled, and she's sick and she's dying. And again, Uhtred is like, what? She was fine. She was walking around.
Right.
And he says again, like, just taking all of her strength. And at first, like, Uhtred is, I think, frustrated by the news. So he's just like, you lied to me. And I was like,
yeah, you concealed this from me. You concealed this from me.
Yeah. And when I was watching this, I was like, come on, don't take us out on Finnan. Finnan is best bro of the year, multiple years going.
I know. Look at the track record. And you see that go through his mind, though, too.
Yeah.
You see that. He has a moment where he's angry with Finnan, like in disbelief that you didn't tell me right away. And then you see him going through. He's like, wait a minute. Bro moment season 2. Bro. Well, okay. He's thinking. No, but there is that sort of, you see in his eyes, like, hold a second. He's been my best friend for years. And there's got to be a good reason why he didn't tell me right away. And Finnan explains himself like, we didn't want you to be divided. Like, I had to swear to Edith that I wouldn't tell you until after, because we wanted you to focus on this. And then Alexander Draymond.
AJ.
Throwing down the acting here. It's hard to watch because he's learning that Ethelfled, who he loves, is about to die. I mean, I think in his head, like, she's already dead, because Finnan even has a line like, there's still time, Lord.
Yeah. And that's what, this was a great moment. So many great emotional moments in this episode too, which is why, like, it was so good to me. We had the awesome battle. We had making the square, and they made it book accurate too.
Book accurate.
Like,
it was textbook.
10 more points to you. And then we get all these emotional moments. We get, I would say this is a bro moment between Finnan and Uhtred for sure here.
Tough conversation,
It's a tough conversation.
And then you want to have that conversation with your best bro, right?
Yeah. And then Uhtred opens up. He like you said, his AJ's acting. He's just like I thought we'd have more time.
Finish.
I thought, like,
and he can't finish these sentences either.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought there'd be more, and it trails off, like he's breaking down. His eyes are watering.
And Finn's like, let's go ride out. Let's go do it. Let's go see her.
There's still time, Lord. And you can feel the pain. Alexander Draymond, bravo.
Yes.
Like we've said many times, it's gotten better each season. Yeah. Each season his acting's gotten better.
He's always good, though.
He's always good, always great. But it's only gotten better.
Some other things going on at this time, like Ethelfled is dying, and they're showing her on her deathbed, essentially. And she's basically trying to get her house in order here. I would say another great bro moment that she had was with Aldhelm, and her talk with Aldhelm. And we've mentioned this before, and how Aldhelm has just been so hard friend zoned, like, so many times.
She knows that too.
Yeah, and like we mentioned too. Like, what did we do? I think it was like the best kill nomination we had in our Arslings Award was the one time when Uhtred comes down with a raging boner, holding serpent breath in his hand, opens the door, and like right in front of Aldhelm, as he's banging the woman he loves.
Oh, pain!
Oh,
pain!
God. So I mean, like, this guy has been there through that. Like, I mean, after that time, I don't know, man. If I would have had to really love this girl to stay with her, and be her right hand man. But
oh my God,
she tells him, like, he was awesome, and she really appreciates him, and like, he's just so.
No one served Mercia more faithfully than you.
Yeah,
something like that.
And that is one thing. Outham has always loved Mercia. You know, that's always been, even when he was being a dick with Ethel Red, that was always his rationalization for things, was like, this is the best thing for Mercia.
Right.
And at the time, Alfred was trying to be the guy in charge of Mercia and just have Ethelred be on the puppet throne. So I think it's why like Ethelred in the show was like doing things that were a little more dickish, because he was trying to justify Mercian independence. But anyway, they have a great conversation, and like Outham is just very professional and like even keel all the time. So it was great when they're having the conversation. He's just like, "Thank you. You don't owe me anything. It's fine." And then he goes outside and he just like, so it's like sort of like beating on the wall a little bit and just like trying to hold it together.
He grabs a thing and he looks up to the sky like, why God? Why are you doing this? Taking my love, the person I love most, I would say, in the world. Amazing acting by James Northcote. Bravo again, everybody this episode. I mean,
it's great. Ellsworth too. Eliza Butterworth has a great moment, like freaking out about her daughter dying. She's like, I'm just gonna go pray. You're gonna be fine. Pray.
She needs God's prayers, not potions. Kind of criticizing Edith and what she's trying to do, even though there's really no hope at this point. By the way, at this point too, Brezel, who had found out from Bishop Benedict about Ethelfled, goes and tells Edward, who is now, doesn't have Pure League next to him to filter bullshit.
Yeah.
But Edward still thinks for himself now, by the way. He's not as easily influenced by Ethelhelm without Pure League there. And he comes and he tells him the news. He's like, how, would you have heard about this and not me? This is my sister. And, maybe they want to keep it quiet because of what happened in Mercia before, with all the aldermen being crazy and being, wanting the power, and like maybe she wants it to be more secret. So while this is all going on, there's a scene with Aelfled, like a little later in the episode, and they're making this tapestry by Alice from Lawes, who apparently is this holy person, and they're going to carry this to the Holy Isle as like a homage, a pilgrimage.
Yeah, that's a pilgrimage.
Edward doesn't know about this, and he walks in while she's doing all this. This is kind of cool because it shows Edward is smart. He does consider all things as a king should. And in front of the Alice, he's like, Elfield's like, don't you think the king should have a nice gift for the Holy Isle? And Edward's like, yes, I do. And then he pulls her aside and not so secretly says to her, do you realize that like this could start a war? Like this could be seen as like us trying to lay claim to the Holy Isle, and that King Constantine, who we have not met, King Constantine could see this as like us taking this. Like, do you even? So he makes her cry, but it's like a good scolding. It's like he needs to tell her because it's true. Yeah,
I would say Edward definitely seems more on top of his king shit this season.
Yeah,
you might still not always agree with him with what he's doing, but at least it seems like he's got a plan and with what he wants to do, and it's him now that's in charge of that. And that's what I love. I love seeing Ethelhelm so flustered. Not Ethelhelm.
Yeah.
So flustered this season. Like, just like, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoy that.
So basically what happens is she starts crying, and Ethelhelm pulls Aelfled aside after that and says, like, you need to pull your shit together. Like, I know it sucks, but you need to bear it, because pretty soon Aelfwerd is going to be on the throne in Mercia, because I got a plan. And earlier in the episode, he talks to Brezel about like, oh, they want Aelfwyn on the throne. Well, that's easy. No one's going to go for that because she's this immature girl. She's been pretty immature this whole season so far. Yeah. This is a good chance for me to try to get Aelfwerd on the front throne. And we know that if we get the Eldermen to say that, so he's like, Brezel, pay a visit to the Eldermen, and here, take all this silver and convince them, which we know the Eldermen of Mercia in the past, there was some sketchiness. There was a
lot of sketchiness.
So he does that. And in the episode, we see Brezel convincing the Eldermen, you should make Aelfwerd, and he like shows the silver, boom. And we don't see their decision right there, but we can kind of assume that, okay, they're probably going to side with
They'll sway that
Ethelhelm.
way.
Maybe we're wrong, but maybe they wouldn't have. But that's what we think. Who hears this conversation between Ethelhelm and Aelfled?
Edward's new side chick.
Edward's Eadgifu. Eadgifu overhears what's being said. She's going to go tell Mr. Edward.
She's going to tell her new man, her new boyfriend.
Yes.
That definitely starts the gears turning with him, though.
Yeah. Starts the gears turning.
Well, now he knows. Like, here we go. He knows Ethelhelm is trying to impede.
Ethelhelm had also told Edward about Ethelfled dying, too.
Mm-hmm.
So Brezel had told Ethelhelm, and then Ethelhelm tells Edward.
But it seems like from that, Edward finds out, he's known for a while before he told me.
Yeah, it's crazy. And speaking of the successor stuff, Ethelfled said Aelfwine must be named his successor. And that was before that moment with Aldhelm. And she asks Aldhelm one last favor. Can you oversee? Can you be her guide, her right-hand man? And Aldhelm is just like, it'll be my honor, through tears. It's amazing. It's amazing. Oh, another big moment earlier in the episode, too, was when Sigtrygr asks Uhtred to be loyal to him.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's that Saxon versus Dane toss up here.
Or you're against us,
and it's tough because Uhtred, again, he's been loyal to the Saxons. He's been guard for the Mercians, and Ethelfled literally just shut him down. He doesn't understand why she shut him down. But again, you can see in his head, he's just thinking like, I've been doing this for 5 seasons now. And like every time
dude,
one of these children of Alfred or Alfred himself, I ask for some help. They just F me over, and I have to do some SEAL Team 6 figuring out on my own to get it. And
but from Sigtryggr's point of view here, it's like, we just lost our city and Edward didn't even come to our aid. He betrayed us.
Yeah.
He betrayed us. So, screw him. But if you join me, we can kind of hold our own together.
It's interesting because if you remember, Sigtrygr was the very progressive guy that was like Saxon Dane mix. We got to do the new way. And like even the beginning of this season, he's like, I don't care if they preach and do all. I don't care. Like I want to be a king of all people. Let's do it. But now that he like got turned on here, and now that Edward didn't back him up, he's starting to see an us and an them. So like what Brita wanted to happen is still like pretty much happening now to Sigtrygr, because he's like they just see us as pagans, and like he sees them just as Christians who are only going to protect their own. But again, Edward did want to send his men, and he wanted to raise the fjord. And Edward also thought Ethelfled was going to be there when he sent stuff. So, but it was Ethelhelm that threw off the Wessex side of things, and then it was Ethelfled holding off her men because she knew she was going to die. So it was a bunch of tricky circumstances. But
all Sigtrygr knows is nobody showed up at his aid. So when you think about it too, he was not only betrayed by his own family and other Danes, he was betrayed by his allies in West. He's betrayed by almost everyone except Uhtred. And it's just like, what the heck? So I think, for the rest of the season, I think Sigtrygr is a little lost as far as like, he's just like, I got to fend for myself. I got to do, and
he's starting to see like the us versus them thing, which was he wasn't about before. And and again, it's tough for Uhtred because again, he's like Saxon or Dane, and I feel like he's made this choice a million times, but like you can see it's a little tough this time again.
Yep.
Because and this is his daughter's husband who he likes, it's tricky getting dad's approval.
Yeah, it is.
So like he really likes this guy.
Basically, he denies him. And I think Sigtryggr's reaction is the best. He just looks at him in disappointment and walks away. He doesn't say anything. And a lot of times silence is the worst. When someone's silent, it's like, just hit me, Just
yell at me.
But he's disappointed. He's silent.
Like, just hit me.
And it's just, I think in Sigtryggr's mind, it's like, damn, one more person that doesn't stand with me again. Damn. Steora finds Uhtred after this little scene and like kind of talks to him about how Sigtryggr's lost right now. He needs help. He needs your guidance. And how could you not be lost with all the betrayals that have been left and right? And Uhtred doesn't really answer to her. He kind of puts his arm around Steora and they walk away. And to end the episode, we need to figure out what to do with Rongvald, because we then see he's caged up downstairs. It, like, tells us, oh, he didn't get killed.
Yeah.
And what are we gonna do with him? Because like, can't just let him off. He betrayed you. He'd like the ultimate. If any one of those people deserve to die, I feel like it should be Rongvald.
Yes. This was like the top guy to die.
I know, he's the one who infiltrated and betrayed. But he is family. He's blood. And he did save Sigtrigger in the battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he uses those in his defense. You can just tell it tears Sigtrigger apart. Steor is like, he needs to answer for this. And Sigtrigger's like, he's my family. Like, he doesn't want to kill him. He doesn't want to make him suffer because it's his brother. But as a good leader, he knows he needs to. He needs to set at least an example. And so we kind of get a new Dane sort of, it's not a wit. It's like a new trial. And this was pretty cool. And we saw something in the trailer and of this scene, and I had no idea what it was gonna be. I was like, yeah, what the heck is that?
When I was watching this in the trailer, it looked, I first of all, I couldn't even tell who it was. I couldn't tell. Yeah. I thought it was Uhtred. I thought it was either Uhtred, or I thought it was even Ethelstan, like just completely disheveled, like being a prisoner for a while. Mm-hmm. And it looked like, to me, like they were like getting whipped and like pushing some sort of like crazy crank or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me at the time. It just looked like they were like struggling to try and push something.
Yeah. And we learn about it as a Sigtrigger, I think, explains it. And
this is clearly Steora's idea, though. Like, it's clearly Steora.
Well, I wonder how traditional this is, though.
Yeah,
because it has to do with Dane religion, about the the Norse gods with Odin, which is cool. But basically, what happens is they put a Toblerone in boiling water. No, they put this metal bar in this boiling water, and they get it super, super hot. And Sigtrigger's like, you must take the bar with 2 hands, reach in and hold it, and take 9 steps, each step for every night Odin hung from the great tree. Which, it's like, oh, sick. I love how they're incorporating the mythology into this. Okay.
Yes.
And this scene really reminded me of like every time like I want mozzarella sticks and it's still in the deep fryer and I just can't wait anymore. And it's just like, it's it. I can't wait.
It's exactly the same.
Exactly. When it's in the deep fryer. So I know what Sigtrigger feels like. Or Rongvald feels like.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. And like,
oh man.
That's where the episode ends, and it just,
he reaches in to get it, and like you see him pull it up, the snot coming out of the nose. He's shirtless, by the way. He's like shamed, and
this felt very Vikings to me. This felt like something we saw on the show Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still Last Kingdom, but it felt like, I was like, if this scene was happening in Vikings, it would feel like right at home. And usually the shows to me are very distinguished and different.
Yeah.
But I was like, this feels like it could be in Vikings.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting. And that's where the episode ends. So just when he like pulls it up and starts screaming, pretty awesome way to end. And I'm like, oh, I hope we get to see the rest of this.
Maybe we do,
but
we don't know.
Maybe we do, but we'll tell you next time. But for today, that's it for this episode.
So I'm committing, with all the emotional beats, and then with the battle, the square. I'm going 9.5 for this episode.
Yeah, I'm going to up it to 9.5 too. A couple small things I'd like to touch on before we wrap it up is we do see Purely gets tied up by Brita.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's captive. And also there was a moment after the early battle where Ethelstan vomits.
Oh, that's right.
On the horse when they're going to look after, Brita, I believe.
Yeah.
And I love this moment because he's like, sorry, Lord. Because this was Ethelstan's first big battle.
Mm-hmm.
And Uhtred's like, I did the same thing in Ragnar's helmet after my first battle.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like that.
And that's cool because that's like hinting at that him and Ragnar fought together. We didn't see it in season 1. So like it was unclear whether or not when we saw Uhtred in season 1,
Mm-hmm.
if he'd even fought before, like when he was killing those guys, did he even fight before?
Right.
Because I think in the books, Uhtred went to the battles when he was growing up, but he never really fought. He learned to get in the shield wall position. He did all this stuff, but I don't think he actually fought until he was actually working for Alfred.
Right.
So like, and that was like part of like his character too. Like he would just say like, "This is the best advice," even though he had no experience. He had no experience, and he would just be like, "I'm just going to be cocky. And I'm going to say whatever I fucking think." Here, it's hinting at that in the show, he knew this stuff, and he must have been in some battle with Ragnar at some point. So that was kind of interesting.
That was
like,
cool.
are we going to get a prequel? Are we going to?
Right. That would be cool. But yeah, that's I think everything I wanted to talk about from this episode. If we missed anything, please comment below. A lot happened in this episode.
Yeah.
But what was your bro moment, Steve?
This one was tough for me because I really loved the moment between Uhtred and Finan. Again, you know, there's this part of Finan, like he never wanted to hold the secret back from Uhtred because like to him, even though like he's not lying to Uhtred, it's still he's not telling him, which to him is enough that like is betraying his trust. So eventually when he caves, and then he also motivates him to go out and see Ethelfled, and they just ride out together. He's like, "Lord, there's still time. Let's go." That was an awesome bro moment, and Uhtred just opening up about his feelings for Ethelfled, and because clearly he mustn't really talk about it because like Finan's like, "We all know you guys love each other, you know." So I thought that was great. I think I'm gonna have to give it though to Ethelfled. Like, just giving a shout out to Outhelm, and like, you know, like, hey, you know, I know it sucked for you being friend zoned, you know, all this time, but like you're the best, and I appreciate you. And I thought I think that was awesome, and I really loved that. So I'm gonna have to give that my best bro moment for the episode.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with the Finan and Uhtred one because I think that's such a hard conversation to have. And I do like how you see Uhtred sort of feel betrayed, and then he gets over it real quick because he knows Finan's a huge bro. And I'm taking that because you took Ethelfled and Aldhelm, because that's such a special moment between two characters who have so much history together.
Yeah.
You could almost consider when Rongvald saves Sigtryggr, because it's literally a bro moment because he's saving his bro. But the reason why that I don't think it can be is because I think motivations are not right. Like if he was truly doing it to save his brother because 100% love, you know, sort of like when Uhtred saved Ragnar and Effington, when Battle of Effington in season 1, like that's a cool bro moment. But here, I think it was more to save his own butt. So I'm going Finan having that tough conversation with Uhtred. But what was your favorite moment from the episode?
I mean, the whole battle. Battle. I don't know, man. Like, because making a square, when they first said make the square, I was like, I was not expecting it. I was the way the show was last season. I was like, they completely forgot about making the square. And not only did they make the square, but they made it with the branches. They made it book and possibly historically accurate. So I was like, oh my God, you guys are amazing. To me, though, the only reason it wasn't is because the fight itself, they kept cutting away from it. And it's just like, I wanted to see more of the actual duel between Brita and Stewart. And we get to see plenty of cool beats, but that's the only reason that one's not taking it, because that was amazing. The battle then right after, I'm going to have to give it to, because it was crazy. And like I said, like just the axe throw, how quick it, like I was like, how did they not kill a guy? How did they not kill a guy with the axe right there? Because usually like when you see like an axe throw or something, like it's like a two-parter, or they throw it and then you can tell there's a quick like cut, even if they pan, and then they show a guy like just holding it in his face. But it looked like we watched the axe go into his face. Like it looked like Arnis threw an axe into a guy's face, and I don't know, maybe that's just a stuntman's commitment, you know. You know, he's like, I don't really need this eye. Like I said, every time Uhtred and Brita kept trying to fight, and there'd be like other people like coming and messing it up, and then like the one time he swung at her, like complete kill shot, and then there's the body in the way, you know. It reminded me of like when Bane and Batman were fighting in The Dark Knight Rises, you know. But like amazing. I would say it was even more well done as far as like dealing with other people and fighting, but I mean,
Yeah.
like it reminded me of that moment, in which I love that moment. So
Totally.
I'm going battle.
Yeah, me too. The whole SEAL Team 6 during the making the square, it was like all things that would have been my favorite moment of an episode packed into one.
Yes.
In the battle. So I got to go with the same thing. So many good beats. Props to all the actors, stunt team. Really amazing. And yeah, I think that's it for this episode. So let us know your favorite moments, your favorite bro moments down in the comments below. It's a great episode. Great episode. Please follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate all the support that we get. But for now, it's like we always say. Goodbye, and destiny is all.